So now we have 1%, EU budget is 1% of the EU GDP, and with this system, in 10 years we shall be at 0.85%. And many economists say we need more EU budget, we need more federal EU budget, and we take the opposite direction. I think personally, I think it's horrible, but when I see that, I am remembering the sentence of the French socialist saying perhaps EU integration is finished in the middle of the 21st century. Maybe we shall have in 2050 only a European budget of 1.2% to pay a kind of EU secretariat. So it's not easy.
Please. I have some questions, of course, about energy, and it's a very difficult question, I know, for Europe, especially with Russia. And one of my questions is, France and Germany have a very special relationship with Russia in regards to energy. Do you think that this relationship can expound on how it relates to the Lisbon Treaty? Do you think it maybe threatens the essence behind the Lisbon Treaty, or the strength of the EU's common will?
I don't think the Lisbon Treaty is changing anything, because you had already an energy competence before. In the treaty, you have an explicit reference to energy, but in reality it doesn't change anything. I mean, for example, the question of energy security, of external energy relationships, were already developed in 2006, you know, at the time of the first Ukrainian-Russia gas war. So at that time there was a discussion under Finnish presidency to develop some common lines on EU security energy policy. But the problem is that how far you integrate. And I don't know if there has been a liberalization of energy in the EU, and you know it is a conflict with the Russians, because the Russians have to disconnect the production of energy and the transport. The liberation, the energy common internal market has made the distinction between the both activities. So you must disconnect the both activities. And for Gazprom, it's difficult because they have a situation of monopoly. So it's a conflict between EU and Russia, but we make our rules, and our rules are for Microsoft, and they are also for Gazprom. So on the EU internal markets. But for the rest, I mean, the question of, you know, gas contracts, for example, long-term gas contracts, this is something which stays at the national level. And of course, there is perhaps not today a common willing of mutualize, you know, the energy supply of the EU. If you see the Germans, when they have seen the difficulties with Poland, with Lithuania, they have said, okay, we need a direct connection with the Russians through the Baltics. It was a Nord Stream pipeline. So it is in the interest of the German economy not to be the hostage of conflicts between Russia and Ukraine, Russia and Lithuania or Poland, but it's not, of course, a part of a common EU energy policy. So Lisbon doesn't change anything, and it is still a difficult topic where member states are partly divided.
Well, there's also with Russia, or Gazprom, which is kind of the same, requesting an exception to the third energy packet if an exception is given to Nabucco, and they're requesting the same exception to South Stream. So, I mean, what do you think the future is for these projects and for this type of deliberation over exceptions?
I don't know if we can give an exception to Gazprom. I don't know technically if it's possible.
They requested an exception for South Stream since the EU had granted Nabucco's exception to the third party. So, I mean, what do you think?
You are sure that Nabucco is an exception to this rule?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that they received an exception to it.
Nabucco?
Yes. But what do you think the future of these two projects are in Europe? I know there seems to not be much support for the Nabucco and more for South Stream.
I cannot tell you. I'm not enough aware, of the technicalities of the two projects. I have worked a little on Nabucco when I was in Brussels. The problem of Nabucco is that you need the gas. Where is the gas coming from? You have the big before the French EU presidency, there was a senior, official of France who made a report on energy policy. Mr. Claude Mandil, he was the leader of the International Energy Agency. And he said, okay, if you want to do Nabucco, you need the gas. Where is the gas coming from? There is Russia, there is Iran, there is Qatar. So, I mean, Nabucco, we don't want the Russian gas, because otherwise we don't need Nabucco. So, Iran, it's not really the most reliable supplier. And Qatar is very far, I mean, it's Middle East. I don't know if the Nabucco project is really a project where you can, economically speaking, make it cost efficient. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I'm not a specialist on that, but I have my doubts because I think Nord Stream, it's clear. You have new gas coming from northern Russia, and it's financed by the new pipeline. But Nabucco, where is the new gas coming from? This is the question. And if you build Nabucco, Turkey is going to take a part for itself. So what is staying for Europe? What is remaining for Europe? So I don't know exactly, all the technicalities, but I personally tend to see Nabucco as a political project in the relationship to Russia, but I'm not sure that the economic base for that is totally ensured.
And it seems to be the same for South Stream as well. But can you speak a little bit about the possibility, or even if there is a common approach to Russia, and how the EU, or if the EU will provide support to Ukraine in its position between the EU and Russia? How do you see this?
In general, or on energy? On energy. I think the interest of EU is to ensure its supply, so that to avoid a gas war between Ukraine and Russia. What I saw, but once again, I'm not a specialist on energy, so I don't know if I have all elements to make a clear judgment on things. But when I saw, for example, in 2009, a conference on modernization of supply routes, gas transit in Ukraine, and that you don't do that with the Russians, I am a bit surprised. I don't understand, because I mean, the gas transit through Ukraine it is using some Russian gas. So for me, energy is a typical subject where you should have a discussion on the table between EU, Russia and Ukraine. And I think EU can play a positive role in that, can help to solve the difficulties and to